Hi, Gerslings. I'm back with another update about the resilient Jenkins, which is that she sucks. The end. Just kidding. We actually have a few updates, beginning with DS, who had his first overnight visit with his mom Desiraye, where she took him to an amusement park. According to Desiree's side of things, the visit was a success and DS had a blast.
Guys, word on the street, and I'm not sure how true it is, so allegedly, but word is, I will not reveal my source, but Deshaun had a blast with his mom. And for the ones that thought that Miss Thompson sent her kids as spies, but Desiraye made it very clear she didn't mind that they were there because she just wanted the kids to be able to get out of the room. Apparently, allegedly, he spent his visitation with siblings as well. And two mothers were able to get together and make it possible for this kid to have a blast. And apparently he's loving it. I mean, it might, like I said, it might have took a little time to open up, but that's understandable. But apparently he loves it. He loves his freedom. He loves his space. He loves his new siblings. I think it's coming soon, you guys. Like, he's gonna want to go with his mom and be there full time, and I'm gonna love every minute of that because this child deserves his childhood. I feel like all these kids involved deserve a childhood, but we gotta start with one. We gotta start where we can. We're getting there, you guys.
Now I know what you're thinking, but I thought you said you weren't going to be updating anymore about the custody stuff, and you're right, I won't be. Unless Stephanie talks about it, or Drew, which is exactly what happened, because, according to Stephanie, the visit wasn't great at all. Responding to this private message, "Hi girl, hope DS had a good time at his mama's," with, "He didn't. He couldn't wait to be back home with me and his siblings, so I hope you have the day you deserve." I don't know. I've decided Stephanie sounds like that now. "He couldn't wait to be back at the motel room with you and your kids." But not Drew? That's weird.
That's weird.
Tell me you're bitter without telling me you're bitter. However, Stephanie wasn't done. Of course not. Because she also left this comment under one of her posts, banging her ample forehead into her phone's keyboard to smash out, "One trip to an amusement park makes up for everything, huh? I'd love to know who was reporting that he had such an amazing time while there. Despite what a lot of folks have been led to believe, DS and I have a great relationship!" Exclamation point. Yeah, only because you beat it into him. Allegedly. He had quite a different story to tell about his time spent away from home, Stephanie continues. "Any child will be excited to go to an amusement park. That's just common sense. But providing actual, genuine care for a child is what makes someone a mother." Yeah. Let's unpack that. He had a different story to tell about his time away from home, aka he possibly downplayed his experience to minimize any negative reaction you likely would have had if he had told you anything else. By the way, if that is what happened, it's called fawning, which is a trauma response where an individual excessively seeks to please others, often to avoid conflict or potential harm, by being overly agreeable and accommodating. It's a coping mechanism that develops when someone feels unsafe and vulnerable, and it involves prioritizing the needs and desires of others to diffuse a perceived threat. The threat in this case being Stephanie, who likely has been crashing out about the impending overnight visit, and her parentified kids have learned to manage her emotional state, because otherwise they might get a black eye. So we could interpret this next line, "Any child will be excited to go to an amusement park," as supporting this theory because it contradicts itself. Stephanie acknowledges that DS had a great time, but one sentence earlier states he had a different story to tell, and in the DM that he didn't. He couldn't wait to be back home. So which is it? Which is it? Did he have a good time? Or was he miserable? Stephanie then takes yet another underhanded shot at Desiraye, despite there being a court order about this, by then stating, rather boldly, I might add, considering the state of neglect those kids currently live in, by writing, "But providing actual genuine care for a child is what makes someone a mother." She has no self-awareness whatsoever. None. No. Stephanie has hit on this point pretty consistently. She seems to think that providing the bare minimum, clothing, food, a bed.
Who's he look for in the morning? Me. Who does he rely on for food, clothing? Me.
makes her better suited for motherhood than, say, Desiraye, who arguably has also met that threshold with her own kids. I mean, she actually has an apartment, so...
Ask the kid himself who he sees as mama. He calls me mama.
It also underscores how threatened Stephanie really is. She really does not like the idea of Desiraye being in the picture.
He's not trying to be freed from anybody. Okay? He's one of the only reasons I still put up with Drew's crap. It's because I low-key wonder what kind of parenting that child's gonna end up with without me in the freaking picture.
Stephanie views herself as the primary mother figure in DS's life, not Desiraye, even going so far as to chastise Desiraye for referring to herself as mommy to her flesh and blood son. How dare you? How dare you?
You sending messages saying mommy loves you when he doesn't even see you as a mom is not respecting his timing at all.
Anyway, Stephanie continues writing, "What I know I will keep between me, Drew, and the next court date. All things will come to light eventually, but continually bringing this energy toward the wrong person, aka the white person, will come back to you, not me. I'm worried about nothing you have to say." She's not worried. That's why she keeps responding to people about it and sounds bitter as all hell. She's so well adjusted, so unbothered. The next court date, BT dubs, is nothing. There isn't another court date scheduled, at least not according to the online court records that I can see. So it's interesting that Stephanie seems to think that she and Drew have a gotcha from this overnight visit. I mean, it's not like posting about all of this is going to work against them if and when they do go back to court, so they got this in the bag. Stephanie also posted an update about their housing situation, posting on Facebook another denial. "This one really discouraged me. The place would have been so perfect for our family." She would clarify more in a video, writing in the caption sanctimoniously because obviously, she needs all of the pats on the back for her seeming good-naturedness, I guess. I don't know. Look at me, everyone. Look how good I am. You're probably wondering why I'm cleaning this area. I've always believed that if everyone were to pitch in and clean up the outside of their home, even if it's not their job to do so, we could minimize the amount of filth in the world. I'm surprised she's not mopping the rocks. Oh, wait.
If there's any resources I haven't tapped into, and she said,
"No, this isn't our home, but it is where we currently live, where my children play daily. The least I can is keep it clean and be respectful while we're staying here." Respectful, huh? Is that why you guys punched a hole in the door? Because you're so respectful? Okay. In the video itself, Stephanie explains that money isn't the problem for them when it comes to getting housing. It's their combined bad credit, her bankruptcy, and their dismissed eviction.
and I'm not on here claiming that we're being denied for nothing. We do have a bankruptcy as well as an eviction that has been dismissed on our past record, as well as both me and my hubby have pretty low credit scores that we're trying to work with and fix. And mind you, this is the first time both me and my hubby are in the position where it's not the financial means that is keeping us from getting a place.
Which begs the question in my mind, if money isn't the problem here, then why haven't you been focusing on fixing your credit for the last 6 months? If you have the money, if money is not a problem for you for the outrageous rents in Portland,
Where it's not the financial means that is keeping us from getting a place.
why isn't that money getting funneled onto your debt? Zeroing out those credit cards, paying down your debt. Why aren't you at your bank right now talking to a credit specialist to talk about how you can consolidate your debt, how you can get your supposed student loans forgiven?
That's definitely not the biggest impact on our credit. It probably is the fact that we need to catch up on our car, as well as I have some student loan debt that I need to consolidate. Blah, 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 blah.
Because, by the way, she never went to college. She has no post-secondary school education, so who knows what those student loans are really for, if they were even legitimate or if she even has them. I think she's just trying to really lay it on thick about how dire their financial straits are. I don't know. But why aren't you doing that? Why haven't you spent the last 6 months getting your financial ducks in a row? That's what you're supposed to be doing, right?
I think for the most part, we were trying to rush the process, rush God's timing. And a lot of part because we don't want to have these freaking opinions on us that we're not doing the best we can for our kids. So we're trying to rush ourselves into the next best opportunity, or just the next opportunity, period. And it's not the best.
And if money isn't a problem, like you say, that also suggests that you are making decent money. Which, since we're talking about money and Stephanie's income. Let's just do a little like hard right into her income, because Stephanie actually addressed it recently when someone said, girl, poverty is a choice for you. You're making thousands on TikTok. As someone in the creator program, I know how well it pays. Where does all that money make on TikTok go? A question that people have been asking for literal months. And there's lots of theories floating out there in a haze of smoke of what it could be, of where it's going. I will let you use your imaginations, but where's it going? Good question. And Stephanie replies, you claim you know how it works. Maybe your videos that get up to 1 million views actually generate money. For me, I get the views from the profile visits, which isn't where the pay is. For example, I had one video at 700,000 views and I made 35 cents. My videos don't generally make much money, as everyone likes to claim. I truly don't owe an explanation to what's in my pocket or why timing isn't on my side with the housing. None of that makes me an awful person. Quite frankly, it's messed up for people to keep pushing the narrative that because we're still homeless, we are trash. No, Stephanie, stop. No one is saying that you're trash because you're homeless. No. People are saying you're trash because you let yourself become homeless, because you guys won't do anything to turn it around, but play video games all day and make content while you have 5 children crammed into one single room, and also because you willingly kept having children while living in a situation that was incredibly unstable, while crammed into a 1-bedroom apartment that you weren't even on the lease for.
Yeah, because I know where they live. I was like, the rent there is $11.25, but then they have like the income restricted stuff and everything. And she said that they were getting some assistance. She didn't tell me what assistance they were getting, but I sent her hella places that were helping me. So they were getting some sort of assistance, and I don't know what happened with that whole situation, but she said that they were fine and that they were trying to find a bigger place, but now all of a sudden they're getting evicted. So somebody lying.
Girl, they all lying, and my name always gets in the shit.
Yeah, she was just posting on Facebook again about her yesterday.
Yeah, she literally was talking that she stopped talking to me, and I told her, I was like, I don't even care no more. I was like, our kids see each other at school. I will see the baby on the field trips, because I go to every field trip, baby. You don't.
You decide to bring 2 more children into that situation, and then, oh, look, everything's terrible now.
I'm not sure if I speak for like all women, but I feel like being a woman comes with like its own dose of anxiety once a month. I mean, especially if you're trying for a baby, because you're like, is this it? I'm like 4 days late, still negative tests. It's so like, I don't know, it just gets in your head. It gets exhausting, that's for sure. So I'm struggling to have a baby. I am. It's been 6 months, me and my partner, my man, have been trying to have a baby together. And it's stressful. We already lost one at 8.5 weeks. When we go in there to see our baby's heart beating, it's not beating. Okay? This is hard shit for people to have to go through.
People think you're trash because of your decisions, not because you're homeless. People think you're trash because of the way you conduct yourself on the internet and in person, to your family, to your friends. People think you are trash because you are an entitled white woman who thinks that you are better than everyone, that you know better, while you are actively inflicting harm onto 5 children. That is why people think you are trash, not because you're homeless. That is the least of people's criticism of you, aside of the fact that, again, you let yourself get evicted by not paying rent. If only you guys were willing to get jobs. How many times, she continues, I gotta say, Drew reached a crash out period and we financially fell pretty hard. And no, I couldn't have just picked up the slack at the time. I was at home maintaining the kids. I have never made the money everyone claims I'm making. I gotta stop again. My understanding is that in Oregon, especially in their part of Portland, in their tax bracket, etc., they have access to childcare. They have access to resources that could have helped them during that so-called crash out, so that she could work, although she was very pregnant. But you know what I mean? There are options. There are supports in place. She's not using them. They're not using them. So I only have so much sympathy, and it's reserved for the children, not for Stephanie and Drew.
It's really crazy to me how they don't have a bed and they're in this apartment. Like, you know, I know there is no help. There is no funding in Oregon. I'm in the same boat, you know, struggling with our rent and shit, because there is no funding to help with your rent and stuff. But that's a 2-parent household. They can both go to work, and her kids go to school with my kids. I know for a fact that they have, up the street from that school, there is a daycare that will take your kids. You know, you can drop them off and it's right on. I had my baby in that daycare until he got into all-day preschool at the very school our kids go to, and my son's 4. So I'm just saying, it's a small fucking world. Portland, especially itself, is way too small to be running around being that reckless.
And no, I couldn't just picked up the slack at the time. I was at home maintaining the kids. I have never made the money everyone claims I'm making. I really freaking wish that I was swimming in it like y'all claim. But you straight up assuming you know what's going on my apps. Unless you're stalking and watching my phone, there isn't a way for you to know. Well, that's not true. Well, first of all, rewind again. What do you mean by stalking? You're posting it to the public internet. This information is available. People are going to look into it, especially when you are a documented liar. Secondly, there are ways to find out. Now, I don't really know about TikTok, but I know for YouTube there is. And when I last looked, in 56 days, your profile will have generated enough data for us to finally see what your Google AdSense roughly is. Well, not roughly. View stats is pretty accurate, but we'll be able to know. So it's just wrong of you to claim that you do, Stephanie continues. I don't care if you think I sound slow. There's just certain things you don't do, and claiming you know someone else's bank account status is one of them. And since I know your small is one of them. Didn't you do this to Arlena and Desiraye, though, saying that they're, like, making money off your name?
But for real, I'd really like to know what y'all's issue is with me and Drew, because personally, what have we ever actually done to either of you? That's right, absolutely not shit. And if you want to go and be like, yeah, well, the baby mama's okay, but they didn't have no issue with us until we went viral. If that doesn't speak levels as to what their intention was, I don't know. I'm not going to keep explaining that. It's the fact that nobody thought to question that themselves. Like, really, did you go back and watch videos? Did they speak of us beforehand?
And how that's all they care about? Because you certainly are really worried about, like, people like Morgan and all of them for making money.
I want you to try something original. I want you to try to make your own content. I want to see if you could stand on your own 2 legs instead of using everybody else's content and bashing them. I don't think you have the social media. Lord knows someone's about to have a heyday making a video off that one, so have fun, girl. At least it pays your freaking bills. You seriously owe me a thank you for your bills being paid. Okay, bye-bye now.
You're really bothered about their bank accounts.
And I'm not even referring to just baby mamas at this. At this point, I'm referring to anybody who likes to talk shit every time we pop up in a viral video. What gets me about these videos is that people will really take what these people are saying about us before they come and actually learn anything about us themselves. Or you'll go and watch literally 5 seconds of a video and decide you know exactly what I said throughout the entire video. And to be fair, I guess I do sort of the same thing because I really don't pay no mind to these videos that pop up about me. I don't give them more than about 5 seconds of my time. The difference is I don't watch it and then immediately go make my own video and try to profit off of what that person just posted.
And since I know your small-minded selves will flip this and be, okay, well, if you're not making the money, then why keep doing it? I'm making more than I would make working. I never said I wasn't. Interesting. So she is making enough money. Let's do some math, Curslings. Let's do some math on this little detour of ours. What is the minimum wage in Oregon right now? Whoops. In 2025, it is $15 an hour. That's $2,500 a month at minimum wage. And she is saying here that she makes more money than if she was working. So, interesting.
That's suspicious.
So she is making money. Anyway, she ends this comment with, but the whole she's made 80 grand plus is a bunch of BS. It's what others say to rage bait about the topic, and yet y'all buy right into the BS. I said I'd start being more responsive in comments, but a part of me thinks y'all weren't ready for that. No, we're ready, Stephanie. You're just not ready for it. You're not ready for how people are going to respond. That's why you don't do it normally. Now, do I think Stephanie's making 80 grand a month? No, absolutely not. I don't. But there's a really easy way for Stephanie to rectify this misconception of her income. She can just show us her analytics on TikTok, YouTube, and Meta. It would be a really easy way to clear this up. But we're crazy, right? But let's get back to the housing thing. Stephanie will also blame the landlords of Portland for having obscenely high standards, in her opinion, for applicants.
And I can't even say that I blame apartment complexes these days, but they definitely have a little bit higher standards when it comes to accepting people through applications. Personally, I don't see how having higher standards when it comes to accepting people is going to help the homeless crisis in Portland, but hey, you do you. I do fully understand taking precautions to not have people F you over in a lease.
Claiming that she even reached out to her mother, who is a social worker, for housing support. Apparently, Mama Marie says that Stephanie has done everything that she can possibly do.
Listen when I tell you I have called all the resources. I even reached out to my own mother who does social work for a living and asked her if there's any resources I haven't tapped into, and she said, girl, you actually called them all.
That, by the way, is not true at all. Stephanie is misrepresenting her conversation with her mother because I asked her about it and she said that's not what I said. Not that it matters anyway, because she also released another sub-only video about her mom and her refusal to take accountability for basically going on live stream panels and allegedly lying about Stephanie and shit-talking her.
There was things that have happened as an adult, especially these lives that she got up on and spoke things about me that weren't even accurate. So I took the time to speak to my mom about that and ask her, hey, what's up with that? There's things you spoke on those lives that aren't even true about me. You know, you got on a live with over 8 people or more that have nothing but terrible things to say about me, who want to paint this picture about me, about your daughter who you've known my entire life. And you could have sat there and defended what you know about me as a person, but you chose to be on their side and further the fuel because you spread lies that didn't even need to be spread.
Keep in mind that this is the same person who on live stream claimed that her mother essayed her.
I wish y'all would stop with that. My mom essayed
And then walked that claim back in her sub-only content, where only a fraction of her audience has access to that information.
I never lie. That's just not something I do. It's embedded in me to not just say stuff that's not true. However, when I'm mad or heated, and I think this is going to be reality for a lot of people, I definitely exaggerate a bit. But I just wanted to put that out there. My mom didn't ever directly SA me, okay? But there was definitely a lot of times where she did not respect my privacy. And that's really where I was going to go on, was that there was just things growing up throughout my development that I would never put on my kids.
If we're talking about accountability here, why hasn't Stephanie publicly taken back her comments about her mother? Oh, right, it's because Stephanie subscribes to the rules for thee and not for me philosophy. Speaking of contradictions, because Stephanie's just a bunch of them in a trench coat, she also admitted in her housing update that her mental health hasn't been the greatest and that it's affected her ability to be emotionally present for her children.
Full transparency, I have let the depression of being in this spot eat me the freak up, and it's not made me the best mother. Don't go running with your freaking theories on that. All I meant by that is I haven't been as mentally present as I can be for these babies, and I need to snap back too.
But in her sub-only video, she says that she's incredibly mentally healthy, you guys. So healthy, in fact, that she feels like she's finally in a place to deal with toxic people like her mom. As Stephanie likes to say, make it make sense.
Like, my mom wasn't even talking to me. It was the same situation with, like it is with me and Drew. I cut my mom out because she was, to me, a toxic person, and I needed space to heal before I could actually have that relationship back in my life. Now, this is the first time I'm feeling like I can have... Stop. This is the first time I'm feeling like I could have a relationship with my mom, but I'm healthy enough in my own self that it's not going to mentally affect me the same way.
Delulu is thy name, Stephanie. Anyway, I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff. I mean, when isn't there a bunch of stuff going on with these two chuckleheads? But there is one final note I want to leave you with. A silver lining, if you will, because Stephanie has noticed that her paid subscribers on Facebook and TikTok and probably Instagram are dropping rapidly. She doesn't even have 300 subscribers on TikTok and less than 25 on Facebook. Anyway, that's it for me. I want to thank everyone for liking, commenting, and subscribing with a big thank you to my mods and members. As always, you guys are rad, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!